D213, Isaiah 13 through 16. Proclamation against Babylon and Moab. Chapter 13. Proclamation against Babylon. 14. Mercy on Jacob. Babylon, Assyria, and Philistia destroyed. 15. Proclamation against Moab. 16. Moab destroyed. God's kingdom is worldwide, and so is his judgment. Moving out from the borders of his nation, Isaiah aims his verbal missiles at Judah's pagan neighbors for their interference in God's program of righteousness. 100 years before Babylon's rise to prominence, Isaiah predicts her role first as oppressor, then as oppressed. The same judgment awaits Assyria, Philistia, and Moab, enemies that would be broken in the apparent moment of victory.
Burden of Babylon did see. Set up a sign on the bare mountain, lift up the voice to them, wave the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my consecrated ones, yes, I have called my mighty men for my anger, even my proudly exulting ones. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, as of a great people, the noise of a tumult of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts is mustering the host for battle. They come from a far country, from the uttermost part of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Wail, for the day of the Lord is at hand. As destruction from the Almighty shall it come. Therefore shall all hands be feeble, and every heart of man shall melt, and they shall be dismayed. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman in travail. They shall look in amazement one at another. Their faces shall be faces of flame. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land a desolation, and to destroy the sinners out of it. For the stars of the sky and the constellations of it shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause its light to shine. I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more rare than fine gold, even a man than the pure gold of Ophir. Therefore I will make the heavens to tremble, and the earth shall be shaken out of its place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. It shall happen, that as the chased roe, and as the sheep that no man gathers, they shall turn every man to his own people, and shall flee every man to his own land. Every one who is found shall be thrust through, and every one who is taken shall fall by the sword. Their infants also shall be dashed in pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be rifled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, who shall not regard silver, and as for gold they shall not delight in it. Their bows shall dash the young men in pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans' pride, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be lived in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall shepherds make their flocks to lie down there. But wild animals of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and ostriches shall dwell there, and wild goats shall dance there. Wolves shall cry in their castles, and jackals in the pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Chapter 14. For the Lord will have compassion on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the foreigner shall join himself with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. The people shall take them, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, for servants and for handmaids. And they shall take them captive, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. It shall happen in the day that the Lord shall give you rest from your sorrow, and from your trouble, and from the hard service in which you were made to serve, that you shall take up this parable against the king of Babylon, and say, How has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of the rulers, who struck the peoples in wrath with a continual stroke, who ruled the nations in anger, with a persecution that none restrained. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yes, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since you are laid low, no lumberjack is come up against us. Sheol from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall answer and tell you, Are you also become weak as we? Are you become like us? Your pomp is brought down to Sheol, and the noise of your viols. The worm is spread under you, and worms cover you. How you are fallen from heaven, day star, son of the morning! How you are cut down to the ground, who laid low the nations! You said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, and I will sit on the mountain of congregation in the uttermost parts of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the uttermost parts of the pit. Those who see you shall gaze at you. They shall consider you, saying, Is this the man who made the earth to tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world as a wilderness, and overthrew the cities of it, who didn't let loose his prisoners to their home? All the kings of the nations, all of them sleep in glory, every one in his own house. But you are cast forth away from your tomb like an abominable branch, clothed with the slain, who are thrust through with the sword, who go down to the stones of the pit, as a dead body trodden under foot. You shall not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land, you have killed your people. The seed of evildoers shall not be named forever. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they not rise up and possess the earth, and fill the surface of the world with cities. I will rise up against them, says the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon name and remnant, and son's son, says the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the porcupine, and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, says the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts has sworn, saying, Surely, as I have thought, so shall it happen, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and on my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulder. This is the purpose that is purposed on the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out on all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has purposed, and who shall annul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Don't rejoice, O Philistia, all of you, because the rod that struck you is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth an adder, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. The firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill your root with famine, and your remnant shall be killed. Howl, gate! Cry, city! You are melted away, Philistia, all of you. For there comes a smoke out of the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. What then shall one answer the messengers of the nation? That the Lord has founded Zion, and in her shall the afflicted of his people take refuge. Chapter 15. The burden of Moab. For in a night Ar of Moab is laid waste, and brought to nothing. For in a night Kir of Moab is laid waste, and brought to nothing. They are gone up to Baith and to Dibon, to the high places to weep. Moab wails over Nebo and over Medeba. On all their heads is baldness, every beard is cut off. In their streets they gird themselves with sackcloth. On their housetops and in their broad places everyone wails, weeping abundantly. Heshbon cries out, and Elealeh. Their voice is heard even to Jahaz. Therefore the armed men of Moab cry aloud. His soul trembles within him. My heart cries out for Moab. Her nobles flee to Zoar, to Eglath Shelishelah. For by the ascent of Luhith with weeping they go up. For in the way of Horonaim they raise up a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrim shall be desolate, for the grass is withered away. The tender grass fails, there is no green thing. Therefore the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have laid up shall they carry away over the brook of the willows. For the cry is gone round about the borders of Moab, the wailing of it to Eglaim, and the wailing of it to Beer Elim. For the waters of Dimon are full of blood, for I will bring yet more on Dimon, a lion on them of Moab that escape, and on the remnant of the land. Chapter 16. Send you the lambs for the ruler of the land from Selah to the wilderness, to the mountain of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that as wandering birds, as a scattered nest, so shall the daughters of Moab be at the fords of the Arnon. Give counsel, execute justice, make your shade as the night in the mist of the noonday. Hide the outcast, don't betray the fugitive. Let my outcast dwell with you. As for Moab, be a covert to him from the face of the destroyer. For the extortioner is brought to nothing, destruction ceases, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. A throne shall be established in loving kindness, and one shall sit thereon in truth in the tent of David, judging and seeking justice, and swift to do righteousness. We have heard of the pride of Moab, that he is very proud, even of his arrogance and his pride and his wrath. His boastings are nothing. Therefore shall Moab wail for Moab, every one shall wail. For the raisin cakes of Kir-Hasheth shall you mourn, utterly stricken. For the fields of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Sibmah, and the lords of the nations have broken down the choice branches of it, which reached even to Jazer, which wandered into the wilderness. Its shoots were spread abroad, they passed over the sea. Therefore I will weep with the weeping of Jazer for the vine of Sibmah. I will water you with my tears, Heshbon and Elealeh, for on your summer fruits and on your harvest the battle shout is fallen. Gladness is taken away, and joy out of the fruitful field, and in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither joyful noise. Nobody shall tread out wine in the winepresses. I have made the vintage shout to cease. Why my heart sounds like a harp for Moab, and why inward parts for Kir-Heres? It shall happen, when Moab presents himself, when he wearies himself on the high place, and shall come to his sanctuary to pray, that he shall not prevail. This is the word that the Lord spoke concerning Moab in time past. But now the Lord has spoken, saying, Within 3 years, as the years of a hireling, the glory of Moab shall be brought into contempt with all his great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small and of no account.